scum denied their bottom tower. Zap! And like bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is about to take the plunge. Welcome back, Landlover. Get any salt in your lungs? 5 seconds remaining. Here's the Radiant Ban. The Dire.
Man, it seems like...
I mean, I don't know how much reserve time EG typically goes down to, but
100% of the time. And Tinker is one of those heroes that do want pretty much full experience. So that is generally why we don't see it pretty much any place aside from mid. This is giving me some kind of nightmare flashback to that Pilot I support Tinker.
Oh god, yeah. That was never again, please.
Yeah, never again.
Well, laning-wise, it will be support up top for the Tinker with the Ice Shard block coming in from Crit to help things out a little bit.
Speaking of block, VGJ's got the massive block advantage again on the mid lane.
Okay. Definitely help out. We haven't seen this that much this tournament. Off-lane pulls. Yang is pulling creep waves around.
There you go.
He is in a 1v1, so perhaps, well, it started as a 1v1. Misery's kind of headed down that way, so maybe not a full-on 1v1. But the off-lane pulls are happening. Top lane, VGJ, knowing that the TB is their key hero to kind of protect this game. Tri-laning with him, and also Tinker, the best hero to perhaps shut down.
I absolutely agree with both points. In fact, I think the Tinker shutting down is probably the most important mission objective here for VGJ.
And that's going to, I think, part of why EG put him in the top lane is they felt like that might be an easier lane for him. You're not sending Tinker to the quote-unquote off lane to sack him and get him under farm. You're sending him there because you feel like it may be the best place for him to be.
Yeah, unfortunately it's not. And I guess EG could go for a lane switch, but obviously VGJ could also follow. The one bright side is that Fair is doing very well in the mid lane. He has the matchup advantage here, and he will get very farmed.
Yep. It is, I mean, only a couple minutes in, but CS-wise it's looking just fine for EG to get farm in all three lanes, which feels like an EG staple in this tournament. Somehow managed to get all three of their cores farm and CS. We didn't see it as much last game, but very often it's not about winning 2 out of the 3 lanes. It's about, you know, doing well enough in all 3. Perhaps even going even in 3 lanes, but as long as they're getting farm on their cores, they're generally very happy.
Fade getting that movement speed thanks to the Spirit. Look at him go. The briefcase going right into Crit. Crit has shards. He won't shard himself up, but the stop is going to be there.
Battery Rune 2.
Oh, they're going to actually rotate around here for Misery. There is laser available, and Fade will back it off.
Yeah. Level 1 Tusk, no snowball yet. Could have perhaps helped him out there. And the Ice Shards tried to probably block the pathway up while pushing himself on the other side. He just wasn't able to quite execute the play. Crit has had a lot of success on this Tusk, but can't always get that perfect Ice Shards push. As for these 1v1 lanes, anything crazy or special you think is going to happen in them? You feel like either of them is going to be one-sided at all?
If Dragon Knight could get his HP up, then he should be fine. But if you're hovering around the half HP, then all you need is a Tusk rotation, and you could force that into a kill. So Starlight, just make sure his HP is up, and he should be truly making it a 1v1. Because I do think that Thunder is fine with this trade, at least in the top lane.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Blocks him in with the shards. Is a snowball up now, but don't really want to go snowballing into a Dazzle Shadow Wave, which is actually not like a counter to a Tusk, but something nice to have, particularly for the laning stage with aggression coming your way. Shadow Wave, a heal and a nuke simultaneously against some of those melee heroes.
So the last thing we haven't really looked at is going to be the Faceless Void lane. 2 points into bash makes a lot of sense here. You are up against a melee hero. I love the fact that Yang has gotten the bottle. Void, not necessarily a hero that could actually just walk away from the lane and then get runes, like Morphling did last game, for example. And that means he's going to have all of these runes to himself.
Righty. Well, going to be, yeah, like you say, runes for the side lanes can be very effective with the bottle, and see a pretty even CS battle so far between Sylar and Fear. No rotations yet. You mentioned the Tusk can, but does feel like his attention is tied up top because they do need to secure this Tinker farm. Are you at all concerned about Tinker not getting that much experience? Normally this is a hero that is in a solo lane, and as a tri lane, he's under level.
Because when you, let's say, do poorly in a lane stage as a Tinker, you could still go back in the jungle and just march your way with farm, but you need high levels of march with that. And he's only level 3 right now, so I do believe that one of the EG cores needs to, let's say, do a lane switch. Maybe Void hits 6, and then he comes up for a gank, and then Tinker now goes bottom.
Yep. If and when that might happen here. Casca bottom, bouncing between 2 nicely. ET wanted to go for the stomp. He's going to get pulled back in by the charge. The stomp's going to hit a couple here, but it's a snowball dodge. Crit making the plays there, saving what would have been a very bad situation if he didn't dodge that stop. That would have hit at least 2, and now they may be able to get a follow-up kill here. Ice Shards in a couple of seconds, but he's going to tango back to the tower, which will getting back to safety. Potential stop though. Maybe they chased a bit too far. Crit will have a snowball here, but doesn't look like he's going to need it. Nor will he want to necessarily go aggressive yet, but with a cast he might do so. Nice bounce between the two. He gets another kill. It bounces back still. Reflection coming out as well. Great play from the support duo of VG, but Crit could be still going down. One more right click. He salves. He stays alive with the salve. Really nicely done.
A very different look from the two EG supports. Last game, both Crit and Misery were very silent, and this game, right from the get-go, they're doing a lot, winning that top just off really superior mechanical play.
Yeah, just perfect.
So I think that might give him enough time to get some TP support, but we'll see.
No, there's a lot of damage here. Fear not even needing the ultimate. They've got Maledict and everything. He gets annihilated as AO TP's in. Didn't actually have any points in the grave anyways.
He just got completely changed on Misery, really microing that cask.
Yep.
Doing very well.
They get the D ward on the Dire, Observer ward in mid as well. Fear didn't even need to pop the ultimate. Still has it if he wants to go for this tower, but perhaps will be reluctant to pop it without a good creep wave. All three lanes going decently for EG. Dragon Knight is very farm though. Sylar popping another Dragon Form, chipping onto the top tier 1 tower now. As Fade will scout out Crit's rotation up there as well.
Despite DK being farm, I'm pretty sure VGJ will gladly trade his farm for Freeze's farm. I think Terrorblade...
Chronosphere bottom, Sumail's going to go for it with a level 2 Maledict. I believe they've got the damage. He has got a wand. He's going to need to pop that for some heal. Yang, does he go for it yet? Pops it. Now he's still ticking, and that Maledict will finish him off. Yang should be dead here. Yeah. He dies, and great play from EG again.
I think if he tread swap and then pop the wands, it might have been close. It's hard to say.
Yeah, but he may have survived the Maledict, but then probably gets chased down anyways. 4 points in Time Walk means it's a very short cooldown.
A complete opposite start here from the last game. So EG up 5-1, and honestly, they do more with that kind of lead. Now Tinker is a impending doom essentially. He gets to free farm in this jungle.
Yep, he's had stacks for him, so while he was a little bit under leveled, he's still level 6 9 minutes in. He's got stacks, he's got 2 points in March, didn't get too many points in his first 2 spells, which is maybe what you sometimes want when you're fighting tri-lane versus tri-lane, but I think recognize, maybe we don't get a kill, but I'm going to be able to get a faster boot to travel.
Yeah, this is the Radiant Poor Man Triangle. Not actually a triangle.
What, a little rectangle, a straight line, whatever you're going to call it.
It's stacked enough though to be the pseudo triangle.
Well, he's got the Soul Ring with the rearm, so making sure he gets rearm at level 6. I guess one of the nice things, you're getting farm but not levels when you're in a tri-lane. So able to make sure he has a fast Soul Ring and then can find some experience and additional farm in the jungle.
Bottom side, they're looking to go here for Sumail. Tossed back into a stun. Do they have enough damage? Not close. Sumail's gonna just jump away.
They're still chasing. Sylar wants to tip at this tower, it looks like, but without Chronosphere, EG are going to be perhaps reluctant to fight bottom until that is back up. But Misery, no, he's back. He's saving a skill point. Could go for a third point in Maledict because they think that will get him a kill. The scan will come out. Not sure if they realize Misery's down here or not. They may just think that the scan's clipping Sumail.
There's an Invis Tiny coming through, though. He could clip behind the tower and maybe toss Sumail into Sylar, but again, that cask is right there waiting.
Yep, and EG just scanned them. Mid lane, meanwhile, Fear popped the X, and he knows that VGJ are focusing on this bottom lane, so he's going to make sure they get a tower themselves. Sumail says, get me out, but Yang Invised up. Does he go for this kill? The toss back.
Oh, out of range.
Went for the turn, but yeah, was out of range. Like you say, the DK was just not quite close enough for it.
Mid lane, the clap is going to slow down the push, but there's nothing they could save to do to save this tier 1. They do trade tier 1s, but obviously EG getting the much more important one.
Yeah.
And again, the most important thing is RTZ just left alone right now. Complete free farm.
Oh, they found Misery. He came out of the trees, and there was still 3 VGJ heroes bottom, which obviously was something Misery did not expect. He thought they had left that lane. And speaking of leaving lanes, Boots of Travelers up. Tinker can now leave the top lane. He can go wherever he wants. He can combo with Sumail's Void Chronosphere incredibly well at this point.
Yeah. So there's a very small timing window left for VGJ.Thunder to finish that Shadow Blade on Dragon Knight and just set up ganks all over the Tinker before he gets Blink Dagger. Because once the Blink Dagger comes online, then VGJ just needs to miraculously catch RTZ. It's going to be tough.
The crazy thing about this game is it's, as much as it feels largely about the Tinker, it's not necessarily Void. Sumail, offlane player, going for a Battle Fury. Death Prophet in the mid lane also has his top 2 net worth.
Yeah.
These other cores are very scary right now. Tinker, caught out of top, snowball dodge. Crit says, no problemo. Here's Tusk. I mean, Tusk has been the hero of this tournament.
Tusk and ET.
Yes.
ET this game not really showing his powers.
Both being featured here. And right now it is Tusk with the upper hand. Mid lane potentially could be defended with a Chronosphere. Sumail has a TP if he wants to go in. Tinker with Boots of Travel as well, so damage output potentially there.
They want to fight this. Here we go.
Oh, TP in, they already got the snowball here. Dragon Knight in the front lines. The stomp is there, but DK's already dead. He thought he would be safe with a potential Shadow Blade escape, but he was still underneath the tower.
Yeah, the shard kept him there, so that was a really beautiful shard.
I think he saw there, it was like, oh, there's no dust, you know, there was a center of Witch Doctor, maybe he didn't even realize, but very likely the Shadow Blade could have just meant that he lives because there was no detection yet for EG.
I mean, generally as a Dragon Knight, 10 minutes, 12 minutes into the game, you expect to make those type of plays and generally survive because of how tanky you are, but EG bringing 4, and now immediately smoke up.
Had Sumail TPing in as well, so even if, and that's the other thing, if VGJ.Thunder tried to turn it around, well, suddenly there's a Chronosphere with a Tinker, and it gets pretty ugly. Who are they looking for? Is it Terrorblade the primary target?
Yeah.
Not that he's up here. Expecting him to be in the jungle, which is true, but wrong jungle.
VGJ now will make a counter smoke of their own.
Got some wards to put down, well, a singular ward, not the best vision. Perhaps that's something that could have gotten even deeper into the jungle. Like they're gonna... Oh no, they brought out another... Okay, now they've got the deep ward here with a sentry.
Sumail will be, I think, the biggest catch here. Get him before he finishes Battle Fairy, but...
You got also, if you want to take a team fight, you need to make sure you try and kill the Void first, because his Chronosphere will win EG fights.
I mean, the thing is, like, you can commit everything onto Void, and then Crit comes in with a snowball, and that could be bad. Mid lane.
Snowball in. Tiny speed initiated on Maledicted up as well. This blink is not going to get you out of this one. Here, picking up the kill, and EG have everything going their way in this game. It's a sub 1k gold lead, but it really does feel like a ton of momentum for EG. Their lineup hasn't even well and truly come online, with Tinker being a kind of a mid-game oriented hero, Void going for a Battle Fury. EG's greed just hasn't been punished.
Yeah. Is there any way that you think VGJ could outscale this lineup?
I think they can scale very well. Dragon Knight, Terrorblade, I mean, Tiny even, a pseudo parry as well. So I think there is scaling potential. I think where they struggle is, how do you catch Tinker? That's always going to be the big question. If they get some wards, if they catch him with like the Tinker wards, sure, they can win fights if they manage to latch on.
And as the team fight begins, it's not just about catching the Tinker, but how do you catch the Tinker and deal with Chronosphere? How do you catch Tinker with Chronosphere backup and Snowball backup? Just more and more problems stacked on each other.
I think the Void is, to me, the reason why EG's draft is going to look better late game. Chronosphere, one of the best spells in the late game, and the Void is not being played like an off-lane Void. He's been playing like a late game carry Void, so EG with like the extra late game influence there because of Sumail's build that he's gotten away with. He hasn't needed to go for utility items.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
VGJ, when in doubt, you could group up and push as 5, but against a Tinker, that's also a problem.
And now with the Tinker Blink, that's gonna not be as easy to do. Perhaps with the Spirit, you can always find him in the trees a bit easier. Be a nice tool to have. Top lane Dragonite's TP'd in here. This could be
They don't have enough damage to kill DK.
Yeah, with Witch Doctor they do, I'd say.
Oh, I guess a Tinker too. Don't forget about that.
Oh yeah. Dragonite will back off, and it looks like EG going to try and use their positioning as well as their wards to take a fight here. They go snowballing and recognizing ET dead means this tower is also dead. Tier 2 should be easy pickings for them. Siege Creep even alive as well. Any chance of a high ground push? This feels way too early for that, but...
It does. ET's going to respawn relatively soon, so I think EG is better off just farming the enemy jungle. I'd like to see if one of the EG support could pick up a Medallion of Courage. I feel like they have enough map momentum that with the next kill or something, they could just pop the Exorcism for Roshan if they like.
Yeah. Witch Doctor does have 1,000 gold if they want to prioritize it there. Tusk has a Blink Dagger. I think the Blink on Tusk is better investment because of how important the Snowball save is and how well he's used it. The Blink just makes it that much easier.
It really does start to feel like that if VGJ is going to be able to win team fights, it's off of outplays, which is not something you can count on. I feel that maybe if they could get off a pretty clutch Sunder, maybe they could have a shot winning these fights, but...
By the way, Terrorblade going for a Mask of Madness build, which really does signal that maybe they don't want to take this approach, but they are going to go late game against CG. They just need to catch up.
This is just a farming Mask of Madness, not necessarily a fighting one.
It's his version of the Arteezy Battle Fury on Terrorblade.
Although, to be frank, I think the Battle Fury might just be better.
Yeah. This may have been a game, if he felt more comfortable in the Battle Fury build or had played it before, he may have actually been very justified in going for it.
Obviously, the difference is that you can disassemble your Mask of Madness into eventually the Satanic and Butterfly, but you got to survive up to that point, which is a big issue here.
It is going to turn into a farming war of sorts here, and it's where the vision can really come in key. EG with some good aggressive wards in the enemy jungle. VGJ with some nice aggressive wards themselves, but it doesn't really feel like EG's ever in that area. EG are the ones pushing out these lanes, playing on the top side of the map, and that's something which VGJ are not equipped to deal with.
They do have a Tinker ward on the south side of the map as well, but that falls into the same category of, great, we see the Tinker farming there. All right, let's farm as well. Here we go, Dragonite finds Sumail.
Oh, he's been walking into a sentry. He's going to get going on it initially. Sumail in trouble. He gets bursted before he can time walk on Chrono. That's a great start to the fight for VGJ. Tiny next to the firing line, being graved up. Can he get out of this one? No TP means no easy escape for him up to the northern sphere. Perhaps being focused down. The Metamorphosis offering a ton of damage. No Sunder available. He's silenced himself with the Mask of Madness. It doesn't matter. He's tearing them apart. Misery surviving on a sliver of health until that last bit of damage coming out from Fade. 3 dead on EG's side, all off of a great initiation under the Void.
Crit has Shard available, but he gets stunned and he's going to get brought down. Crit will snowball to the low ground. He still has Shard available. Excuse me, he doesn't. It's huge magic wand though. One right click, magic wand.
Still want this kill.
Okay, Shard in 1 second.
Can he deny himself? No.
And that is going to be, what, 4 kills in that engagement?
And EG had the sentry. The Dragonite got spotted going in.
And he even got bashed.
He just got the Dragon Tail up in the Void, was that what it was? And then it set up like the ET spells?
The Tiny came in. The Tiny came in and set up the ET spell.
Yeah, that blink on Tiny proved to be crucial.
Yeah. You can see how important Sumail's role is in this game. If he gets off a Chrono, the fight won't be even close.
Yep. Mail moved from that one and proven to be devastating for them. Yangapon going for a 4-star, very much it was an offlane Tiny. He's not taking the Sumail approach to the offlane. and going for like core transition, like carry transition items. He's just full on going for the utility for the time being.
Really reminds me of the sexy Bamble school of thought. Just get every mobility item in the book and just, you know, go kill people.
Yep. Oh, Tuss did not get the blink. He ended up getting Medallion, which really does point fingers towards Roshan for EG. See if they are able to take that. Perhaps the next Exorcism. They've got such good. They had such good map control. They still do have decent map control. They lost one of their one deep observer ward. If anything, it's VGJ who have the better aggressive wards for the current state of the game. But also ET has a Rod of Atos. Decent item for catching and locking down a Tinker, or just setting up your spells in general.
Yep.
Also fantastic against Void.
Very good against Faceless Void. I think Void needs to itemize against this. The Blink Dagger helps a lot, actually. You could just, well, dodge that Rod of Atos.
Yeah. Imagine we may see like Manta style, or BKB, that's the same thing as well, coming out. EG do not lack damage. I think that's the important thing for Sumail to realize. Yes, you've got a Battle Fury and you can farm well, but you don't need to carry the game by building damage to dish out in a Chronosphere. You've got a Death Prophet, you've got a Tinker, you've got a Witch Doctor even. There is ample amounts of damage to be dealt already.
We did see how quickly Fear dropped, though, as he charged in that last engagement. Really needs to watch his positioning. Did pick up the Plate Mail. That helps a lot against Terrorblade, and now they're trying to set up for this Roshan.
Sumail, he's smoked up, perhaps looking for a pick first.
Ayo's gonna break the smoke.
Not the biggest loss, but should be enough to set up Roshan. Goes for the Great DP, will get cancelled, and we'll see a dead Dazzle, which, even though just a 5 position, is probably enough to deter VGJ from either fighting or contesting a potential Rosh.
Yeah, I do think that Thunder needs pretty much all 5 heroes. That weave in particular is very important for one scouting the Roshan.
TP's about to get a bottled DD now. Do like that. They're not getting the Rosh Lumi. They're still scared of VGJ right now.
I guess if you're crowded into the pit and you just get stomped by Fade, that can just set up for all sorts of bad things.
Yeah, ET has got to be like one of those top 5 Rosh contesting heroes. So good around the pit with long-range scouting and also the ability to disrupt enemies going for Rosh and buy time for your team to arrive.
And like you pointed out earlier, Tiny going for the full utility build. I think that because your job is pretty much catch Tinker, I think this is actually going to get you more utility this game than the standard, you know, Blink SNY AC build from offlane Tiny.
Alrighty, well, right now a bit of a showdown in the mid lane. Neither team willing to commit until now, as VGJ have smoked up, looking to start a fight here. Smoke pops the mid lane by Fear. He's back to the high ground as quickly as possible. It looks like Yang, even though his smoke popped, he did not have any vision any further. It was EG who had the high ground ward in the mid lane, so they immediately...
Oh, this ward's gonna see Misery, I think. Avalanche is gonna cancel that TP. Forceap, though, he's in a bad position. Misery, can he drop off his cast before he dies? Ayo's gonna seal that kill with the Shadow Wave.
Yeah. I don't think that's a big enough kill to get Rosh here, but...
Well, they're
maybe see them try.
They have a double damage. Don't forget about that.
Yeah. DD picked up and bottled earlier on.
This is really risky for VGJ.
Even with the double damage, I agree, but the thing is EG may not know he's got this double damage. Rosh is going to drop incredibly fast.
Yeah. Shard's going to check
goes in. Tinker's up top here. I think they're actually going to kill Rosh fast enough, and EG not contesting this. I think the big thing is here for EG, yes, you can maybe get there in time, but do you want to fight into a DD Terrorblade with Grave backing him up? I don't think you can.
I don't think they even have vision of the Terrorblade, so I'm not sure if they even know that he has Grave or not, so... Or rather, double damage or not.
You could get him in a Chronosphere, but chances are, Dazzle, you stand outside the pit to the north side, you get that Grave off. You're always going to be able to get that Grave on a Terrorblade, and it's very unlikely Dazzle gets caught in the Chronosphere.
So what started as a massive lead for EG early on, it feels like Thunder is kind of inching themselves back into this game. I still think that EG is somewhat ahead in these engagements because the Tinker issue has not been solved in Chronosphere.
Yep. Saves crit for the time being as they do bring down the... Oh, now they're going to bring down the other time. The Grave is there. Fear going to pop the Exorcism as well. Sylar getting lasered up. The miss is there, and Fear charging forward with Arteezy's help. Brings down Yang. Couple more die for the VGJ side as Sylar has to drop the stun to get himself out of there, but Arteezy still with a decent amount of mana. Could look for the kill on Sylar, but does not want to dive further.
And that's
a tier 1.
That's a 10-second BKB on Sylar, essentially wasted just to survive. I guess waste is a strong word. He needed it to survive, but you always...
Great use of like the cooldowns there. No Metamorph, they knew that VGJ could not fight. They fought into what was effectively a TB Aegis, but the TB without Metamorph is not going to do anything.
Yep.
Dyer's bottom tower.
Very good warding here. This Observer Ward has been blocking the camp for a long time now, which is a quite obvious Observer Ward, but at the same time, there's so much things going on right now. The support's just taxed.
Yep. Any unexpected items does it look like? Tinker going for a Hex seems pretty standard. TB does queue up a BKB, something you have to normally get earlier than... Well, I mean, you have to get against Tinker when otherwise Terrorblade normally does not build BKB.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just don't do any damage against the laser.
Between Tinker forcing them to get the BKB and then the Faceless Void Chrono making those BKB somewhat useless, EG's got a pretty nice strategy. You generally can't really afford these kind of super greedy cores playing together, but again, this has been the EG strategy overall in this particular tournament.
Well, the TB BKB versus Tinker always feels bad because you're BKBing so you can do damage, but it doesn't help you kill the Tinker if your supports don't catch him, because TB has no ability to catch or kill Tinker.
Not only that, the BKB doesn't protect your illusions, which will just get the Aghanim laser and rocket it down.
Well, Crit, despite the medallion pickup, has still almost completed his Blink Dagger. Unfortunately, the medallion did not lead into a Roche for them. VGJ with Aegis and Metamorph back up. They want to push. This looks likely to be a couple of towers up top. I don't know if EG want to fight this one. They've got a Chronosphere, but unless they can catch like key heroes like Dragon Knight and Dazzled and Chronosphere, they can't really take a fight very easily.
It's a bad position to take a fight.
Yep. Sylar pops the Dragon Form, looking to Shadowblade initiate here.
That's a Tinker.
Behind the tower, they're tossed back. Not the ideal target they get. Just so it's up, they get the stop onto the void. Okay, rooted up the ball. They get snowballed in forward. Time looks back defensively. I don't think he wants to take this fight. The problem is for EG, they're losing their supports. Any chance of this fight has definitely been removed by their supports going down.
Yang is absolutely carrying his team right now. He's playing like a ninja. Blinked in first, found the Witch Doctor, so toss him right on top of DK. That's a quick kill, and then after that, blinked in again to find another. This is what offlane Tiny's dream to be.
Yep. The tier 2 tower going down. Metamorph won't last for too much longer, so I imagine this is all VGJ will get with this meta. And the big question again is, like we saw last time, what do EG do now? They don't care about the Aegis, they care about the Metamorph cooldown, and they have a chance to take the fight to VG Gaming now, considering Metamorph will be on cooldown.
Yeah, the nice thing for that strategy is that because you have a Tinker, the waves are always pushed. So when you smoke across the map, you're generally fighting into the Thunder area, where if you do win a team fight, you're likely going to get a ton of objectives from it.
It looks like EG are perhaps grouping around this mid lane. They've got a smoke on Witch Doctor. I think they know we just lost a lot of ground on our side of the map, so there's very likely aggressive wards up. But Misery dewarding shows he has a smoke, and hey, EG just fought you when Metamorph is down. What are they going to do this time? Probably try and fight you again. So I imagine VGJ are going to be playing and positioning very defensively. Yeah. Tiny tosses a creep for a last hit and then instantly blinks to his tier 2. I feel like this smoke, as much as it's the right idea for EG, is unlikely to actually achieve much.
Well, the scan is not going to catch anything. They're going to walk right into the shrine.
Oh, if they waited a second longer for that scan, it may have actually caught EG.
Like you said, Thunder absolutely is aware of this. They're going to just stand so far behind.
Yeah, catch them or not, you're hugging tier 3s right now. They're grouped up as 4. They're just leaving TB to push with his illusions.
Yep.
And also importantly, TB's Aegis is gone, so...
I think they're just baiting Yang. They're like saying, look, if you go on Yang right here, we have the Stomp to back him up, we have Graven,
And I think Sumail similarly knows this. He sees Yang, but he's like, well, he's hugging a tier 3. I think he might have teammates behind him. Spirit constantly trying to scout. They see Terrorblade, though. Okay, maybe. A risk. Okay, forced out to the high ground.
And of course, Tiny was also looking for a toss back to start the fight. It feels like it's two chess grandmasters trying to one-up each other here. And
at the same time, both of them know like all the opening moves and know exactly what their opponents are going to do. because VGJ react perfectly to what EG do, and similarly EG understand that Tiny, yeah, he's bait. We know what you're doing.
I think this is probably one of the sweetest part of Dota games, just watching two top teams just dancing back and forth.
Another scan. They smoke now that they've got Metamorph. Both teams understand their timings perfectly. The EG smoke when they're strong, they don't find a kill because VGJ know it. Now VGJ go for a smoke and EG know they don't want to fight. Very much a game of cat and mouse, but it's not clear who is the cat, or it's going back and forth.
Here's the thing though, both teams could just assault a tier 2 tower whenever they want. One team would Exorcism, the other team would Metamorph, but you might get the tower. At the same time, it comes with a great risk, because your spells are going to be off cooldown. Neither team really taking a chance on anything.
Yeah, in some ways it doesn't feel worth it to commit those key spells like Metamorph and Exorcism for tier 2s.
Yeah, a measly tier 2.
It puts yourself in a very vulnerable position. I saw an interesting item earlier. We've got one. Sylar has an Orchid on Dragon Knight.
Okay. I feel like it's a very excellent scaling item to begin with, and Sumail now with this Lincoln Sphere, you just need some way to break it, and that will be the way to break it, and of course he could just Dragon Tail afterwards.
Yep. Does look like EG are going to forfeit their bottom tier 2. One key spell being used in the Dragon form, but it's not the Metamorph, which is perhaps the bigger one to have in a team fight.
And I think VGJ will be able to force EG to TP back to defend with Sylar showing bottom. With 2 siege units, these 2 siege units is going to do quite a bit of work. There's that TP.
No creep wave to support him, but yeah, TP from Tinker coming out. See what EG look to do. I don't think the Dragon Form is a big enough spell to tempt them into any kind of a big fight.
Oh, I love Yang's positioning. Just, he understands his role. He's gonna scout, look for kills.
TP back to his team now, I think recognizing, all right, damage is done, we've put some pressure on bottom, let's fall back now. Definitely part of a game where vision is going to be key. We see really good Radiant vision. Both jungles as well as the mid lane being warded. Very much gears them up to go for this Roshan, which has respawned now. The dangerous thing is if you throw an Exorcism to go for Rosh, you may get the Aegis and Cheese, but often what you see against teams that with Death Prophet that take Roshan is you have an Aegis and the other team still fights into you at the Roshan pit because that Exorcism has worn off.
Teams are getting really smart with that. What they like to do is start the Roshan, and once Rosh is about half HP where you expect the enemy team to challenge you, then you pop the DPO.
Sure.
So you kind of double dip. You use that DPO for the Roshan and also for the fight afterwards.
I talked about the Radiant Vision. Dire, similarly, vision in both side lanes, deep on the enemy map and the mid lane. I think teams recognizing where the key kind of entry points that fights could break out from are going to be. A lot of action around this mid lane because of Roshan. See if there's going to be any kind of initiation. Arteezy happy to reveal himself, throw some missiles as EG look to chip away at his tier 2 tower.
That rocket immediately gave away that there's a ward, so...
yeah, dewarded. That's not really worth it in a sense, but this feels like the stage of the game where you want to buy a gem because of how key the vision is going to be.
Yeah.
And picking up, I guess it's all about who is going to carry it. I mean, whether it's a Tusk or a Dazzle, ET, vision is just going to decide some of these fights. EG, Exorcism for Roshan, they feel like they've got good info as far as where heroes are on the map, and VGJ are not in a position to contest this one. Free Roshan, uncontested, no punish like we talked about could happen after an Exorcism.
Yeah, this is where just having Tinker in your team is 100% the reason why you got that Aegis.
Yep. Lotus Orb for Yang. Hex no longer dispellable, but I guess you can Hex the Tinker if you get the Echo for it.
Sure.
But definitely no longer is juicy of an item to get against a Tinker.
By the way, they put the Aegis on Sumail, understanding that he's probably the most important part of the team fight. We still haven't really seen a big Chronosphere yet, and that's just testament to how well VGJ.Thunder has been playing around it. But should that Chrono ever come, it is a disastrous fight.
You still of the feeling like EG have, for the most part, the better late game, and VGJ are going to have to outplay them?
Yeah, I agree with that. With Sumail also picking up that talent at level 20, just extending that initiation range is also very critical for this part of the game.
Does, again, highlight the fact they aren't lacking damage. It all comes down to getting those better initiations. We'll be seeing very likely some level 25 talents, potentially extra Chronosphere AoE. I feel like this is a game where you may want that Chronosphere AoE more than the backtrack.
I agree. It does feel like, especially with the way that Void is itemizing with the BKB next, it's this road just to drop the chrono and hit as many targets as possible.
Yeah. I mean, Tinker will always provide damage output in spades.
And in this game, you ideally want to catch the core and the Dazzle behind the core, so any bit of extra AoE is welcome.
Dazzle need that Aether Lens. Oh, he's got Blink queued up. That's even better than the Aether Lens in that sense.
This is the good old, I'm going to sit in my base and watch the fight develop.
Got the Force Staff too, but Blink a bit more reliable. Force Staff perhaps a bit more for pushing teammates in and out of fights.
This is actually one of the very few games you see Dazzle itemizing like as such.
Yeah. This reminds me of like those really tense TI Chinese Dota games where it's a game of keep away.
I mean, this is the grand finals, right? Both teams are, or rather, the Chinese team is playing very, very slow and defensive.
I think, I mean, EGR as well in a sense, like they recognize when they could and could not fight.
I mean, like we said, this is the grand final, but what's at stake here? If EG loses this one, they're 0-2.
Yes.
And there's only a few handful of reverse sweeps in Dota history, so.
TP with Crystallis, so going for pure single target right-click damage. Not a very common item on Terrorblade. Normally it's much more stat-heavy butterflies, Scotties, but I guess this is a game where you need to maximize your damage output during BKB.
It's also because you can't rely on illusions at all. They will just get blinded. So I think this is the absolute correct choice, just to go for the pure right-click damage and basically rely on your BKB to carry you through it.
Is he going for this kill? Sylar Shadowbladed towards Sumail up top with a Bloodthorn. His single target damage output is pretty scary. Problem is, he can only get either the stun or the Bloodthorn. He can't get both against the Lincoln.
He needs both, so he needs somebody else to break that Lincoln.
I don't think any Boots of Travel were up to join him as well. It would have been... yeah, there was no solo kill potential there as much as he may have been looking like he was going for.
Might see a fight here.
Yep, there's a Dire Ward, Radiant Ward. Well, initiation blinking from Yang finds the Tusk, who gets the snowball immediately. The Terrorblade going in, looks to burst down the Void and succeeds in doing so. Fear needs to be careful. He's getting a lot of damage from the Terrorblade. There's the BKB, the Earthspin bouncing around as well. And it does look like they're going to settle for just the one loss. Back to the south side. Sylar has found Sumail. He gets brought down now. As Terrorblade hexed up, trying to chase him down. I think Fear needs to be careful, even with Exorcism up. Still very...
He's got the down. Rod of Atos. He's going to slow one down here. Crit is going to blink away. Do they have any more catch? Crit is going to TP out safely.
Oh, they caught a glimpse of him, but tiny for Void. They fought into an Aegis. Killed Sumail twice. Terrorblade is just so scary with that Metamorphosis. And the other nice thing was DK still had a bit of Dragon Form left at the start of that fight.
Yeah, and we are starting to see the weakness, or one of the weakness of the EG draft is that you just need somebody to sit in the front line, and it cannot be Faceless Void. If Faceless Void in his front line, they will just control and kill him regardless of how many lives he has. But who's going to be that front line person for EG?
Yep. See if EG look to keep on fighting. They do find the Elder Titan here. Take the Arcane.
Got the Force Staff.
Yep. That's where the Eye Charge can kind of work against you, but he still gets brought down thanks to a force in by EG, and now the Eye Charge coming out once again. Sylar's trapped on the wrong side, he's got no BKB for another second. Pops it now, could use the Dragon Ball, made a
Look at the damage!
Sylar!
Yeah, just 3 shots, and his BKB though is running out. Nice defensive Force Staff. The Snowball's coming in, that might just be a free kill. No, he blinks out, crit! Just too fast, now Yang is on the chase.
Got him with the Yules. Where's the backup? Tossed back into a reflection. Arteezy comes in. 3-man laser. Could be in trouble. The BKB from Terrorblade there. The Chronosphere as well. TV not caught inside with the lasers there. Grave will save the Tiny. Keeps himself alive. Can they bring him down with the Spirit Siphon? They will. EG. Take out 2. Looking for the TP. Oh, they're going to get him. He's dead. No Sunder from the Terrorblade. Sylar. As he goes down. Fear invis up. Sylar will get the first kill. Can he find more? Gets the stun on Sumail. The Lincolns was not up. Silas, though, still needs to get out. Has a Bloodborne in a couple of seconds. Can he get Sumail? Not sure he wants to turn and fight. He's so goddamn slow. He can't move. Crit's there as well. Can't get the Lincolns. He gets the silence out. Oh no, Sumail! He may be dead. He's silenced. The Bloodborne will finish him off.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Back and forth they go, and Sylar, he's the last dragon standing. They're going to push mid lane. I don't think they have enough damage to take the Roshan, but they sure will have enough to take at least a tier 2. But look at Tinker. Tinker's already cutting waves up top, so you got to make a decision.
That fight started so well for EG, and it looked like, I mean, they killed the Terra, but it looked like the Dragonet could go down, but the Tinker kind of disappeared from the fight, as you, at some point you have to, because you run out of mana.
Yeah.
I think that was the point where Sumail was like, well, I can keep on chasing and I eventually will kill him, right? I got a Tinker alive, but it takes a while to actually regen up and get back in that fight. I don't think he had a creep wave as well to TP to, so Sumail got left on his own, and VGJ got to be at least content with the outcome, even though it wasn't a big win for them.
Sure. Both teams starting the fight with very chaotic nature, where Terrorblade couldn't really deal damage because he didn't have Metamorph. And I do believe that EG was missing 1 or 2 of their key spells as well.
Even Dragonite, he popped his BKB but didn't have his Dragon form initially. Like, both VGJ carries didn't get to, like, properly play their heroes in that fight. EG, similar-ish thing with, like, the Void. I mean, Chronosphere comes in and felt very, very chaotic.
Parker, we've been seeing a couple of these fights develop, and I'm going to re-ask you that question that I asked earlier. Is VGJ going to outscale EG?
I don't know about outscale, but they can take them late game. They've got the items. All of their cores, or the 2 main cores, DK and TP, have itemized perfectly for this game, it feels like.
Especially Freeze.
Freeze. Itemizing such that he doesn't care about illusions. He's not going stats. He's purely relying on his main hero to do single target damage. Dragonite, similar thing, very late game oriented. MKB with Bloodthorn.
Oh, here comes the smoke on smoke action. Radiant has a ward, and that ward might make all the difference.
What a chrono! Okay, there's a weave coming in as well. He's got the Gravy can save his life if he needs to, but then Dazzle can't really get into this fight too well. Star's gonna turn, take out the boy. He wants more. He's got the BKB up the Yang game. Chipped away by the Tinker. Tinker off the high ground doing some good damage. Tiny goes chasing for him, but he needs to be careful. Arteezy gets the Hex, brings down the Tiny. It's TV, meanwhile, on his own.
It's a 2-for-1 engagement. Crit is on the chase, but look at the damage from Freeze.
Has a snowball, but he's silenced up. Dragonite and TV, the 2 main carries for VGJ, are still alive.
They checked the Roshan, it's not up just yet. Unlucky for EG. I'm sure they would have want that refresher shard. Would have really made all the difference. I mean, imagine having a second Chronosphere or an Exorcism in these engagements.
This is definitely a game where a refresher shard will be game-changing for either team. Double Metamorph is crazy. Double Chronosphere, like you mentioned, double Exorcism. These big game-deciding spells, having 2 of them, well, you're suddenly in a really nice position. Unfortunately for EG, they do not get the Rosary spawn quite yet. And a minute 43, TB's Metamorph is up in a minute 43.
Eventually.
They're going to try to pressure, maybe force out a buyback. Just getting some very good deep wards for now. Uh-oh, Sylar walking up a hill. He's really on his own.
Yep, needs to be careful. Doesn't have the Dragon form for a little bit as well. Level 25's approaching for him. Did get the double regen armor at level 20 on Dragonite, as it's kind of become mostly customary. Need crazy level 25s here.
Nothing I'm catching yet, but there is one craziness, is that Crit has bought himself an Aeon Disc.
Nice.
Which is not an item you see on Tusk too much, but just him surviving long enough. If he ever gets off a snowball, which he will always do with the Aeon Disc, he just blinks away from the fight. So
this allows him to like blink into initiate and not risk himself just instantly getting deleted. Lane Silas enters up. He's in the Arcane Room, pops his ulti form, knowing that. And EG looking to just hold the top side of the Roshan pit. They've got great vision in this dire jungle. And this is just an area that VGJ cannot enter without a smoke.
And also the waves are fairly pushed in, surprisingly for Thunder. So with Roshan spawning very soon, I think there's a good chance that Thunder could just sneak it like the way that they did earlier.
This Arcane Rune on DK doesn't find all too much. Is good just knowing that you're going to have that Dragon form almost immediately when it expires. EG continue to play around their vision. But VGJ, they even scan this. They're constantly throwing the Astral Spirit as well. They're not going to go anywhere near that hill. they'll continue to stay on EG's side. They want to make sure that they're in a position to not let EG get this Roshan. This Roche fight and potential refresher is the game right now.
The tension right now, I feel it.
And as you said, these lanes being pushed out. I think Tinker perhaps too afraid to go back and defend, worried about DK or Elder Titan catching him out.
Also, if your Tinker is just not in the fight could be over before your Tinker even ports back in it, because it feels like these fights are being decided very rapidly.
I mean, I feel like these teams forgot which side they're on. Like, EG, are you guys Dire and VGJ Radiant? What's going on here?
Freeze trying to hit the tier 3, but there's backdoor protection, so...
And Arteezy's creep skipping waves.
I mean, both teams are creep skipping waves right now.
VGJ are like, well, you want to play an outside? We're going to push high ground. Oh, wait, we can't. And the standoff continues.
I mean, having a Tinker's gotta be helpful, right, in this occasion.
Oh, Yang gets hexed up. He's been initiated on. Force up away. Oh, no! Misses the Chronosphere. This is disastrous for EG. They need to rely on the Tinker now to deal damage. Both BKBs being used. Misery Gate burst down by the Terrorblade. Full retreat for EG. They cannot fight. Fear just wants to get out and save his ultimate, but he's being chased. He's got no mobility here. The Yule's giving him some movement. He goes for the TP. Where's the stun? Fear gets hit by the Dragon Tail. Brought down, 3 dead. Roshan belongs to Vici Gaming. Should they so choose to go for it?
Yeah, they need to worry about the waves first. You can see immediately Dazzle ports back up top, defending himself against the 2C units.
Tinker kill him, potentially, if he wants to go for it.
I think so. Well, if he has enough mana.
They're not going for Roche. Yeah. They're going for the base, Lumi? You could get... I feel like Roche is bigger than, like, one lane of racks, but if you can win the game off of this push, then yeah, definitely worth it.
Given how important the creep wave is, and maybe the Raxes are more important, but it's going to be a tough push. They just don't have a creep wave, so backdoor protection now being...
They want Tinker, they're going to get the Tusk instead, toss it back. Snowball was used. Gonna get the blink out. Great plays from Crit, just buying time for his team. Sylar even BKBs for this.
And because VGJ.Thunder went for the tower, they're not getting anything, and they might not even get Roshan. VGJ needs to get back right now.
We talked about the late game decision making yesterday with VGJ and how it kind of led to EG's comeback. This feels like one of those moments. Roshan should have been the go-to after that teamfight victory. They may still get it.
Yeah, they have so much damage right now with this Terrorblade. Which, by the way, Terrorblade had got himself a Blink Dagger. And I think the idea with this item is that he's blinking into the middle of the fight and just dropping a reflection on everybody, just causing a ton of chaos.
Also, I mean, you want that gap closing item to make sure that you're close enough to use Metamorph and kill people. A point gets stunned, you want to be able to burst him down.
So that's Refresher Shard on Terrorblade. That is 2 BKB and 2 Metamorph, and of course 2 Sunder.
See how he uses it, because it's very awkward right now with his... I guess the Mask of Madness could be dropped, but it is definitely a slot-limited Terrorblade.
With one barrage of Laser Rocket Dagon, that's half of Freeze's HP.
Yep. Easy playing around the trees up top, trying to be as pesky as possible. And for EG, are you just kind of stalling out the Aegis now? How big is an Aegis at this point of the game? It is only the Tiny who has it. The Refresher Shard, those don't expire.
I think the Aegis is actually very important. The way that Thunder...
Storm here. They're going to go for it. The Boulder Smash perhaps preventing it. They still get the glimpse. No Static Storm needed. He throws a Carapace right away. Still getting going on underneath the tower here with Ravage back up. VGJ want to force this mid lane tier 1 tower. Arteezy is top though, in a position to take a tier 2 tower.
That tier 2 is actually going low pretty fast.
Yeah.
But Freeze has Exorcism available, chooses not to use it.
Arteezy's choosing not to even commit to the tower with his hero. He recognizes a TP could spell his demise, and he also farms fast in the jungle with his Battle Fury. He can just send his illusions up top.
Yep.
Tier 1 mid goes down, and I feel like tier 1 mids are equal or maybe even more valuable than side lane tier 2 towers in a lot of ways anyways.
Yeah, especially with now the positioning of the shrines, they kind of count like T2 side lane tower sometimes, whereas the mid one is very irreplaceable.
Dire's middle tower.
Well, TEG look to make a move now. They smoke up as 3. Undying is at bottom, so I imagine they will be headed towards Misery to go take a fight around this bottom tier 1. Arteezy may want to join up as well. He's got Mantisile. He can send illusions, may keep some pressure on, get some vision. As for Fear, he's vendetted up. He scouts out Fade. Observers and sentries in his hands, although he did not see Fear.
If they get this Juicer kill on the bottom side and the tier 1 tower, that's going to be a big win.
Burst out quickly though. Have they got the burst damage? Oh, they didn't even know that roll was coming. That is so unfortunate.
Very high APM pause. Well done, Fade.
I mean, he paused before the roll even happened. I mean, yeah. All you can do is laugh about that one. Yeah,
no, they know.
It's definitely a scenario where it helps VGJ because EG have already planned out how they initiate, and now VGJ get time to react. It's unfortunate, but there was nothing malicious about this.
Here's the thing, I don't think Sylar will ever get off his stone gaze because Sumail's right on top of him. So the question now becomes, can Yang get into that fight with the teleport scroll in time to save Sylar?
Yep.
And I don't really think.
It's also like who TPs first.
Yeah.
Now the pause gives you time to discuss. Like, all right, we're gonna TP this hero in first. I think the Death Prophet second, and then Disruptor immediately drop like a static storm the second you get close enough, but. Again, unfortunate this happens. No foul play intended, but we'll see how things unravel after this pause. EG, do you think they've got the burst damage? They've got a lot of good stuns and silences.
I definitely think they have enough to kill the Medusa. I think the question more comes down to how many do you lose if you commit hard for the Medusa. Medusa has max mana shield and a 13 charge on the wand, likely gonna be to 17. The question is, can you chain stun her to prevent that 17 charge wand to come out?
Okay. We've got the Boulder Smash, Impale, plus Meteor Hammer. We'll see if all that's going to be enough. The damage output is maybe where they struggle. Terrorblade is not quite there. He's further back in the river, but we'll get back to that as when still pause for a little bit longer. Not sure what the issue is. There were some mic stuff earlier on. Right now, it started off good for EG this game. You know, they had a 4-5k gold lead. It does feel like that slipped away a bit through VGJ's strong team fight.
Yeah. This is exactly what happened last game as well, where VGJ kind of just snuck themselves back in a game when they were behind 3 to 4k. But I think this particular fight is going to be a big impact, because if they get that clean kill, likely they get the tier 1 as well.
Yep. What are you looking after the, I mean, as far as the games here right now, do you think late game is going to favor either team? Medusa versus Terrorblade, Tidehunter, Puck, like what's your read on this game as far as it I mean, you say it's going to be a late game. Who does that favor? A long game. Who does that favor?
Personally, I think that favors Thunder a lot more because of their team fight potential. It really comes down to a very interesting mind game between Sylar and Arteezy, what kind of build they each other go for. So Sylar, if he goes for the Aghanim Scepter, he just one-shots the Terrorblade Illusions.
Yep. All right, well, hopefully we get right back.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Yeah.
The teams are ready to go. Hop back in.
Camera, get off us. Okay.
You don't want to look at our faces. They've gone in. They're looking to burst down this Medusa. Is the damage there? The Tide instantly TPs in, and EG smartly disengaged. They weren't even going to be able to burst the Medusa, it looked like, without the Terrorblade there. Crypt may pay for this as well. Arteezy didn't even continue going bottom. He swung mid to take a tier 1.
Yeah, they knew immediately then.
Perhaps, and once they see that Tide TP, they know they've got to get out.
Yep.
Sumail, well, that's a DD rune. He's going to grab it. Had me all preemptively cast.
Maybe that was what the next Meteor Hammer is supposed to shine. You hit him right as he TP'd in, you know? And you get that Dusa kill.
Yep. Stun them both. Well, not a big loss for EG, although they may be thinking if the pause didn't happen, we may have, get the kill if Tide doesn't respond.
The hero loss of crit is not that big of a deal. It's more of the opportunity cost, because they probably would have gotten the kill in the tower.
And they took a tier 1 mid, so it actually was still a slightly EG favored trade. Sure. Is the crazy thing, but an area where they kill a Medusa and take the tier 1 mid and tier 1 bottom is the kind of dream outcome there.
Dire's bottom tower is about to flounder.
Just right amount of greed.
I feel like the right amount of greed, because even if Thunder decides to say, okay, we beat you Midas, let's punish you for that. The way that, hold that thought here as crit is going to get slowed down. The way that Thunder push is very cooldown based. They might get 1 or 2 towers as a reaction to those Midases. They're not going to like get a Rax or anything crazy.
You just want levels, and you get stronger much later in the game just through having things like a Midas.
The good
Sealing an 8. It's not even him who ends up making the play in the end. It's crit. This late game.
Yeah.
Undying. They do, but to me, it still always comes down to like the hero composition to some extent as well. You can have equal or more farm, but it's like an Undying who has farm. Is that going to match up against like the impact of a Tide or a Tusk? A Tusk, to me, could have a bigger late game impact than an Undying, even if one has more farm than the other.
We're going to see Fear start sieging up on that tower.
Nice.
Pretty good damage.
Fade. Oh.
Okay. Quick micro.
Didn't blink to the quite correct spot either.
Now
is he looking for this kill? His teammates are quickly running in. Fear.
There's a Rod of Atos. Nice invis dodge. And
protect freeze in this game. With that said though, you know, this is the reverse of what we saw last game. You don't really want Death Prophet as a matchup versus Terrorblade. She just quickly dies to any good focus fire by Arteezy.
Yeah, that was what we saw. I think the Ghost Scepter pickup last game was very necessary for Fear. I wonder if this Death Prophet even considers something like that. Has a Hex queued up, even the Ultimate Orb already purchased, but the physical burst is definitely a big problem. EG, is this time for them where they're actually going to smoke? They're grouped up.
Yeah, they want to fight. They have Bloodthorn being delivered in, and they're looking to...
Big boost damage. VGJ are also smoked up. Immediately gets popped. Fear throws the Impel. Meteor Hammer queued as well. The Snowball is there. Carapace coming out from Fear. Blinking from Sumail. Gets 2 in the silence. What can they do? On the high ground is the Terrorblade, but it's a Ghost Scepter. The TB keeps it, does not get the kill on the Tide because of it. Was looking to bring him down. Nicely played by EG to push VGJ back, but unfortunately they did not get the kills they were looking for. And talk about Tide itemizing against the Silver Edge. Well, Ghost Scepter is a great way to do that.
Yep, and you could do it for the cheap. It's only, you know, 1600 gold.
Yep.
Gives you some decent stats. And that was a very good defensive play for...
Arteezy wants back in. His Metamorph still has a bit of action on it. Another smoke up from VGJ.
Oh, God. And they have Ravage available.
Who are they going to go in here? They pop it. Misery be left for dead. I think this is a hero you let... Yes, you've got this Metamorph going, but no, they want to fight this one. They're trying to take the fight. EG. Arteezy goes in with Beacon. He can't take both silent. He can't use his ultimate. He's being silent. Arteezy in the corner do say he's lost the Metamorph, but he's back in melee form, and with that, he may be done for. Silent still incredibly low. He gets brought down. Arteezy on the run. Yule stuff needs to find the Sun to tug. He's got a man to start, but he's been chain stunned by VGJ. They've lost the Terrorblade. On the run is Crit, who gets blocked off by VGJ. Misery dead as well, and Sumail. He's just trying to pull this creep wave away. Trying to buy some time for his team so that they don't lose their high ground. What a good fight from VGJ.
In that team fight, we saw 2 very critical things. Very good patience from Yang. His team was getting completely hammered down by Meteor Hammer, Tombstone. There was a lot of things that I think a lot of players would have just immediately ravaged. But he understands that the most important kill in that team fight was Arteezy. So he waited out the BKB, got the Ravage off, and then started getting that kill. The second thing is the Puck Dream Coil. As I was trying to talk about earlier, the whole team got coiled, but because you're a Dusa-based lineup with Tidehunter, you stand the coil and just pretty much tank through it. I think they really need the assist of the Earth Spirit to kick and break that coil and apply a stun. Without it, the coil, Ags or no Ags, doesn't really do that much.
It does feel like, more than anything, maybe if TB's Metamorph had not worn off, they take that fight though.
Sure.
At that point, they just lost all of their damage. Medusa, I don't think gets Stone Gaze off if not for the Metamorph wearing off, as well as the rest of the heroes who are coiled, likely just get pummeled down by Arteezy. Things will once again go into the crazy late game here.
Yeah. And one very important resource in this game is going to be Arteezy's BKB timer. That was the 10-second one. They lost the fight. And the reason that is important is that's pretty much how much time he gets to right-click before he gets ravaged. That is his only defensive tool. They're going to go on Sylar.
They saw the Disruptor. They did not want to go on him. They're looking for bigger prey, and it is Sylar. He's got Stone Gaze again. They get the Sylar. He immediately 4-stars up, though. Are they going to chase this one? Sumail gets hexed up. He could be in trouble. The Static Storm to fall up. Sumail on the puck. Uses himself defensively. Arteezy pops the ultimate. BKBs, but he cannot do any damage because of this Stone Gaze. He does not want to get turned to stone. Impale and run. Drops a Carapace, but he's still in trouble. Very, very low. The Gush will finish him off. And Arteezy, he's the last hope, but without a BKB, he's still in a bit of trouble here. Ravage and fire around. Sunder's Fame wants to get this kill, but he's being hexed up. Ravage comes out. EG get hit by absolutely a crushing team fight here. They've lost for immediate buyback from the puck of Sumail, and this does not look good. Sumail even jaunted back into this one.
And now he gets glimpsed back into the fight. Sumail's going to get control. He has Yules, he has Phase. I think he can make it out of here. He needs to actually blink. Okay, he blinks away, he orbs.
I think you just ignore him, go push a lane. You've got 4 dead.
Yeah.
And that will TP himself home.
That's yet another team fight victory for VG. Again, another second down on that BKB timer. The reason that EG wanted to take that fight is that they recognized that Yang's Ravage was still down for a couple of seconds, but they just couldn't kill people fast enough.
That force up too. What a game-winning force up that hill. And at that point, you want to try and burst down this Medusa before she stone gazes during the silence, because that completely crippled Arteezy. His entire BKB duration was wasted because he couldn't fight into the stone gaze. And boy, oh boy, is that spelled trouble for EG. It's a small goal deficit, but we're just seeing team fight after team fight go VGJ's way, and with Aegis Cheese, well, in VGJ's hands, potentially.
We have seen Crit do it before. Let's see if we can do it again.
Yep, they know there's no Ravage. They want to take this fight, but Fear's been caught in the Static Storm. He looks like he should be going down here. Drops a Meteor Hammer just to do some damage before he's taken out. Another big thing, it feels like. Oh, buyback from Fear.
Oh, they're just throwing everything onto this.
I think they know this needs to be their Roach.
Yeah.
There's no Ravage. This has to be a Roach that they claim. Well, this may just be game over for them.
Static Storm and Ravage both down for 40 seconds.
They will have Metamorph in 20 seconds, which gives them about a 15-second window with Metamorph and no Ravage.
That seems like it's not going to be enough.
I agree. And Stone Gaze is up, most importantly.
Yeah.
So. Arteezy.
Wow, is he going to just go in and try to sneak it?
I believe went in undetected. I think he was out of range of that sentry.
Yeah, he definitely was.
If you just show, he theoretically could. I don't know about this.
Frozen Sigil is on cooldown for a while.
No Tide Ravage. Can they do this quick enough? It looks like the answer is yes. They'll get the Aegis and the Cheese. Stone Gaze is used. Arteezy does not need to fight into this one. Throws the Reflection out. And we'll wait for this to wear off. Nice boulder smash going through. Catches the Medusa. The Medusa in trouble. EG gonna go chasing now. No Stone Gaze to worry about. Arteezy, BKBs, charges forward. Potential Ravage once his BKB wears off. The War and Punch will buy some time. Can they bring down Arteezy? The answer is yes. He won't have Metamorphosis. Even though he's got Aegis, this could still be bad for EG. Sumail in the front doing a ton of damage, as well as the Magnetize from the Earth Spirit. Arteezy gets the Sunder up, but he's still in some trouble. He gets kicked back from Crit, trying to keep him alive. Sunder, EG, Arteezy, he's Silver Edges, he takes out the Disruptor, he gets back to safety. Can he get out of this one, slowing them with the Reflection?
He could maybe even turn around. He does have the Bloodthorn back up, and now the heal HP. Sylar is still very low. Oh, he's gonna go for kill. The Hex is gonna be there. Can he actually get off? He has Yule Scepter in a couple seconds. Arteezy really looking to mad fight, and that's gonna be the kill on Freeze. On the backline, Sylar being chased. And I don't think they're gonna get Sylar. He has way too much. And now Sumail, that's gonna be a dieback on Sumail. Fear's been corralled in as well. He has very low mana. He has no teleport scroll. Fear is gonna go down with the rest of EG.
What just happened? They got VGJ so low. That was incredibly close to being an EG victory. All they needed was a bit more damage to kill off Sylar, but he escapes on a sliver of HP, stands his ground and fights, and somehow Arteezy also got chased all the way back to the top bounty rune and killed off as well. Oh, it looked like it was going to be so good for EG, but somehow VGJ, through sheer survivability, held their own.
You know, one of the most underrated aspects of the Greaves is the fact that when you fall below a certain HP threshold, you get 15 extra armor, 12 extra HP regen, and I think that was what kept them in that fight. They just outlasted the entirety of EG, and here comes Freeze. Might not have exorcism, but Deuce is going to pick up a double damage. Oh boy, let's go.
Unfortunately for Arteezy, he really needed to get that cheese off during his first life, because that's his Metamorph life. He respawns and doesn't have Metamorph up. Oh, Rapier. Medusa wants to end this game, Lumi. We've got ourselves a Rapier. They're going for the tier 3, tier 4s. They are so close to securing a 3-0 over EG right now. VGJ looking for some revenge. No pump, no Nyx Assassin. Can EG defend Arteezy? He's been hexed up. He can't get the Thunder up. It looks like this is it. EG. They call it. They have been 3-0'd by a resilient VGJ attack from the lower bracket. They've done it. Look at the excitement on the VG Gaming side.
This is an incredibly young team being led by ROTK, Sylar, and Yang, but down the stretch, they are playing like one of the best teams in the world.